Visuals and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Visual Guys movie reviews. This time it's for the biggie, it's for the potential blockbuster of the year, definitely blockbuster of the summer. It's our spoiler-free review for Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right, I was at the midnight screening for Deadpool and Wolverine. I've been again this morning, so I've been a couple of times. I'm going again later on and I've got a viewing on Friday evening. Oh my God, listen, I know I'm Mr. Optimistic, I know I'm like, anytime something gets spewed out, I'm like, oh, there were some really great moments, you'll have fun. End of review. Jesus fucking Christ, this film was absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to try my hardest to stay away from spoilers. I'm usually a bit of a fucking loudmouth though, like, oh, fucking you, blah, blah, blah. I will try my absolute hardest. There will be a spoiler-heavy review up in the form of a podcast with me and Chris in a couple of weeks' time. Some extra handy-dandy movements today for some reason, and I don't know why. But, be warned, there is so many spoilers online. If you go on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, you'll see a fuck ton of spoilers. They're already out there. The cameos, the appearances, the scenes, the costume. There's just so many spoilers already out there. So be careful if you haven't seen the film and you're scrolling about online. Deadpool and Wolverine, the third installment of the Deadpool franchise. Technically, well, Ryan Reynolds said yes, it's a third film, but it feels more like a new film because it's Deadpool and Wolverine. Whatever, but the first real installment of our crossover and stuff to really begin with the Fox integrating into the MCU and Disney and stuff. And Jesus fucking Christ, this was so awesome. Where do we friggin' begin? Let's start off with the humour. The humour, if you love... It's another one of them ones, if you love the Deadpool humour and you love the humour and the giggles and shenanigans from the first couple of films and his comics and all that kind of carry on, you're going to love this. If you hated the humour, it's probably going to be more of the same. For example, because we potentially may have had one of the best intros, not in Marvel or MCU, but just today. I had so much fun with this intro. There's a song, there's murders, there's a nice dance shenanigans going on. And if you're not into the silly, weird shenanigans, you ain't gonna like it. It was absolutely... Well, I was trying my hardest not to... I don't know if you could tell, I'm currently sick, I'm gammy. I was so worried when I went to the midnight screening, I thought... Because I literally, the weekend before, I'm coming down with a cough and I'm thinking, oh, fuck. And I didn't want to ruin anybody's movie experience, and they're watching Deadpool and Wolverine and all the kids in the back. But luckily, no coughs come from Fat Boy. I was over the moon with that. I was probably more happy with that than I was the film. I was laughing to fuck throughout. Yes, I know I'm silly and immature and dumb-minded and easily pleasing. Oh, that's real. But it was so funny. I think that the whole cinema, because it was rammed our screening, the whole cinema was in hysterics throughout the entirety of the film, from the small little jokes to the big on-screen performance-y jokes to the hidden fun little gems. There was so many jokes about the state of the MCU and the state of the multiverse and shit like that. There's a cameo by somebody who made maybe my favourite joke in the entirety of the film. We'll get into that in the spoiler-heavy podcast. But there was a joke said by somebody and I was in hysterics. I looked at Chris and I was like, that was fucking brilliant. The humor is definitely still there without a shadow of a doubt. It's arguably... potentially maybe the funniest film now in the MCU. Yes, I giggled at Love and Thunder. I know some people didn't. I giggled at Ragnarok. The Guardian stuff's usually funny. But this is hands down the funniest MCU film for me personally. The fact that it was so good, because obviously with a character like Wade Wilson, Deadpool, you can allow him to get away with so much anyway. There's so much that you can sort of say, we'll give this material to him, or we'll give this sort of dialogue and stuff to him because he can get away with it. Like I said, poking fun of this franchise that he's just joined the MCU and being part of Disney, and whether it be the stuff that we see in the trailer, mention the cocaine jokes and stuff, or the Disney's, you know, I'm not new to pegging, you know, Disney is and all that stuff. But like I said, the state of the MCU and Marvel as a whole, the live action stuff. Because a lot of people say, you know, Marvel's dead, Marvel's back, For me, Marvel's never been dead. Yes, it might have had a bit of a lull and whatnot, but it's never been dead. As long as I'm seeing comic book characters doing comic book stuff on the big screen, I'm so happy. But the way that he pokes fun of the multiverse and, you know, come on, we've tried it, it's not really blah, blah, blah. It just works so well and it was so fun, and it felt like, obviously, if you go to a midnight release of this film, you're already highly involved and engaged with the MCU and stuff. But them sort of jokes played out so well. Spinning off the comedy, Ryan Reynolds, of course, beautiful, phenomenal, amazing to play Deadpool, obviously, as he was in the first one, the second one. He just continues to knock the ball out of the park. Something that's still standing the test of time is Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I don't think it was in anybody's mind that it would be like, oh, is he still good as Wolverine? Without a shadow of a doubt, he is still absolutely beautifully cast to be Logan / the Wolverine. He is phenomenal. There's a moment, again, we know that these two fight, It was not a spoiler, but there's a moment where they're getting ready for battle, and it just feels like, oh, we're back seeing Wolverine, not quite Berserker mode, not sort of his Berserker barrage, but is back to his glory. He's not missed a beat, and I'm assuming it's Hugh, but there's a moment where we see the work he's done on his body, and Jesus fucking Christ, that man has still got it. I was like, oh, fuck me. Just showing off the joke, there's some nice jokes that are written specifically for Ryan and Hugh in this, which just, it's sort of like, oh, but okay, fair enough. We even start off with a very, very heavy joke, depending on how you look at a certain film, but we start off with a very fucking heavy joke, which completely worked for me. But I looked at Chris, I was like, oh, how do you feel about that? I'll go with the action. The action is non-stop phenomenal. Yes, I'm sorry, all I'm going to say is stupid words like phenomenal, amazing, beautiful, brilliant, and I'll continue to do so. The action was so great. Once again in the trailers, the moment where Deadpool reloads his guns and away we go. The choreography to the fights with its claws against the katanas or whoever may be fighting on screen at the time is just absolutely incredible. I'm completely engaged. We do have a big fight sequence. I'll kind of say it's kind of a little bit reminiscent of Guardians Volume 3, the hallway fight. We get a similar sort of one, and it was just so on point and beautiful, and I'm glad I've seen the film a couple of times, because again, watching that choreography, there'll be certain bits of moments and bits where the person's fighting there and here and whatnot, where I'm missing little bits, so I got to watch it, different parts of that montage and stuff, as the film's played out. So it's the first time I looked at that bit, then I looked at this bit, and it's just such a great fight sequence with a great soundtrack, a song that I didn't really love, and then this film comes out, they put this song in it, I'm like, yep, song added to playlist. What's absolutely pivotal to this story is the emotion, because we all know the weird paradox that Wade Wilson's in, right? This isn't specified in this film, but we know it from the comics, and the fact the game did quite a good job at this is the emotional side to Deadpool, and the paradox that is himself, that he's in love with, like, Lady Death, but he can't ever be with her because he can't die, and this weird, horrible cycle ensues. So we know that there's a heavier side to Wade Wilson, a sort of the jokes and the humour and the loudmouth and the over-the-top shenanigans kind of mask a lot of what's really going on inside and how he's truly feeling and what his emotions are. And this does play a little bit on screen, and of course it's the same with Wolverine, but Wolverine's not been so secretive with his PTSD and his trauma and his past, and, you know, different Wolverines have lived different lives, but there's always been torture and torment and horrible stuff going on, you know, losing people and going savage, and there's been a lot of fucked up shit in Logan's past, and this is completely explored in this film. And to see Hugh on both sides of a little bit of comedy, but typical Wolverine, aggressive, come on, just slashing shit up, to the stuff that's really haunting him, his past and stuff like that, it all played out beautifully. We did have tones of great comedy, great action, great emotion. It was a full-on roller coaster of everything that I want from a film. That the filmmakers and the writers and everybody had to make this, I feel like, was executed. Obviously, I wasn't in I didn't write all this down, of course I didn't, but I could see that the vision they wanted to execute was, to me, I feel like they would be happy in saying their vision was executed perfectly. It was, honestly, from start to finish, completely so much fun, with so many engaging moments and so many callbacks, and like I said, with the cameos and stuff. But I will quickly point out the cameos that we get. Again, it's not, we know there's cameos coming. It wasn't one of them ones where it was just chucked out for us shills, us marks, to be like, give them a few nostalgia cameos and shit like that. They were great and amazing, important moments, but they didn't overshadow the overall story. It was just like quick little stops of, okay, cool, okay, cool, okay, cool, and then the overall theme and the overall tone of this, what the story is still there, and it was just kind of like little bus stops of these cameos and stuff. So for me, it wasn't just one of the films, chuck out there, do a nostalgia fest, people will love it, we'll make loads of money, and away we go. I think it executed everything it needed to do and wanted to do so perfectly. One of them films I consider, because, right, I love going to the cinema. Any long-term viewers of the channel know I love going to the cinema. Storytelling is my favourite thing in the entire world. And I love an artsy-dartsy film. Recently we had Longlegs, an artsy-dartsy storytelling film. Beautiful, phenomenal. But I absolutely love when I go to the cinema and it's just, you can unplug your brain and just have so much fun and have a a proper cinema experience. And to me, this is one of them films where it is a proper cinema experience with an over-the-top story, with over-the-top characters and stupid, weird gimmicks that would never happen in real life, but it doesn't matter because we're in the world of make-believe. I'm here to get out of the real world. And it unplugged me every time I've seen it, to the point where I was just so happy when one of the scenes happened. I looked at Chris and I was like, oh my God, that just made me too much. I'm sat there was in tears and cries because I was just so happy. I know as I'm saying this, I know I'm Mr. Positive, Mr. Hey, everything's great kind of guy. I just can't help it. I am easily pleased, and this hit all my stupid little marks that I needed to let it hit. And it's so phenomenally. It did a great job as well of, because of what we're going to explore, we know we're in the void. Again, the trailers show this, so we know we're doing multiverse stuff. But it made sure to tell its own story and to help further how the future MCU films could be told without being like, okay, we need to connect this, we need to connect this. Like the end credit scene, for example, has got nothing to, this one is a huge spoiler, has nothing to further the MCU of where we're going to go next. It was a self-contained joke. It was a payoff from a previous joke. And I thought that's fucking phenomenal, because I think we do, me definitely, I can be carried away in the lost and the, how do we set up the next, how do we connect? This was kind of, we are connected, but remember, the main purpose of this is to tell this story of not only a reunion, but a first time togetherness in live action properly. We're not counting the Deadpool we've had with Wolverine before, and telling their story. And then when we can tick little boxes, we'll do that when we can. But the main importance is telling this story and how we can tell it, and these two characters, and how we can bring them together in an amazing way and have some fun with it, and then connect dots wherever we can. It didn't worry about the future of the MCU. It kind of felt like watching this was like, okay, we know the future of the MCU is safe when we're going to get the next few characters and all this stuff, and when Deadpool's going to reappear, and if Wolverine reappears, we're fine and we're good to go. Because it did leave a bit of a question. It's like, okay, if that's happened and that's there, so how are we going to... So it left it lingering. It wasn't just like, oh, we're on our own, see you later, or make sure it all connects. It left the questions we needed, but in more subtle ways. I genuinely think... Obviously, there will be people that will leave the cinema and go, yeah, it was okay, because, you know, the comedy might be too much for them, or they're not huge in love with Deadpool or Wolverine or whatnot. But I just feel like the majority of people that go to the cinema will be happy. The cinema I was in, it's very rare for a UK cinema to do this. Obviously, the midnight releases are usually full of us nerds anyway. But it got a round of applause and stuff. There was a lot of people clapping. And most films I give a little gentle tap to, but you know, I don't want most people, because I'm like, oh shit, I don't want egged on the fucking way out. It does everything exactly what it needs to and how it needs to. You will have your nostalgia hits if that's what you're there for. You will have a great story told. You will be on the edge of your seat with the action. You'll be completely involved and engrossed by the story. You'll be laughing your ass off. You'll be crying when laughing. You will be pulled with the emotional side of it. Like I said, seeing the stuff that Wolverine does and a couple of little reunions, you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? You're going to have such a great time. If you want to go to the cinema just to have fun, then Deadpool and Wolverine is that film. Obviously, I highly recommend everybody that worked on this. Like I said, I don't want to mention too many people's names because I'm just going to fucking slip up and spoil shit and stuff. We will mention in the podcast the spoiler heavy one that we do in a couple of weeks, but... yeah, I can mention Ryan and Hugh and whoever else that we've seen in trailers and shit. We know that Laura is back. She was in the final trailer. We know that Dogpool. We know there's going to be Deadpool variants and stuff. We know there's going to be Wolverine variants. The couple of the variants we got, we did get one little bit which I fucking wish we got a little bit more of, and you'll know what it is if you're a big Wolverine fan, you're a long-term Wolverine fan. There's been something that you've been wanting to happen for such a long time, and we got just on the edge of it, so I wish we got a little bit more, but I kind of like that they teased us with it and just sort of went, hey, and then away we go. You're going to get fantastic jokes for the comic book fans. You're going to get fantastic jokes for movie lovers. You're going to get fantastic jokes just for the MCU fans. You're going to have an amazing time. 110 million, trillion, billion% recommend viewing this, and it's now it's done, dusted. This is the best team up of the year. Originally, I was going to give it to Godzilla Kong as the best team up of the year, but as soon as this film was announced, I think it was always going to be the best team up of the year. As you can probably already imagine, Wolverine and Deadpool gets a massive billion, trillion, 100 gazillion out of 10 for me. It gave me everything I needed. It gave me everything I wanted. I was emotionally there. I was however else you can be there. Really fucking fun time, and seeing Ryan back as Deadpool, seeing Hugh back as Wolverine, inside of this franchise that we've come to absolutely love. Well, I say people have come to love. Obviously, Marvel fans already loved it, but just cinema-going fans have come to love it. And hopefully the people that have been a bit down with the last few hits with the Marvels and the Love and Thunders, the people that didn't really enjoy them films, hopefully you've got a shot of boost of the MCU. Fucking, this is what it feels like to be back in the MCU, and the MCU's absolutely nailing it. Hopefully all of you are served well from it. I think you really will. In fact, I know you will be, so. But please check out Wolverine and Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine, sorry. I don't think you need me to tell you that. I think anybody that's going to go watch it is already going to go watch it. This film is definitely hitting the $1 billion mark. Especially if a small cinema like my local cinema was completely rammed. Think about the big cities in the UK and the big cities in America and everywhere else across the world. It's going to easily hit $1 billion. But there we go. That is my spoiler-free review for Deadpool and Wolverine. Trillion billion out of 10. Ticked all the boxes. Amazing. Some great nostalgia moments. Funny, emotional, great story. Action. Beautifully on point. If you have already seen the film, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my review as well. Sorry if I sounded a bit fucked up. And if you were in my cinema, I'm glad I didn't cough and ruin it for you all. And let me know what you think of that intro. Is that now the best intro inside of the MCU? It really may be. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes out of your day. Well, fuck knows how long I rambled on for there. To sit and chill and listen to me talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. But more importantly, I hope you adored the film. And thank you so much for watching. You guys are literally the fucking best. Rules keep being you. And keep on, keep it on.